Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we will continue to be working on this very big trick. So last time we talked about the first variation, the main line. So briefly, we explained why this is a main variation. And till here we said there's some mistakes that black can make. If you haven't checked it out, check my first video. Today I just want to cover a little bit what we left off last time, and then we'll go to the other variation. So we said when black kosumis, we attach, black retreats, and then we will seal black in. In the last video we said what happens when black plays here. We're able to make a big sacrifice and stay on top. So to recap, when this happens, the important move is for us to play the pincer and sacrifice our group. If black plays here, we can now play the kosumi. So last time, I think a couple things that were not super clear was that when black plays here, the correct move is for us to just play here. So you might have a question about, well, what if black turns here, right? So this is a little detail I want to cover. Well, it's actually quite simple because white can just cover on top. There's no way that black can break out from here. In fact, these moves would shorten black's liberty and then make this liberty fight a losing liberty fight, and therefore it's game over, right? On the outside, there is no way. If you Atari, there's not much that black can do on the outside. Alright, same here. If you Atari this direction, white just need to answer everything that black does, and then there's absolutely no way that black can destroy white on the outside. I also said, what if black attaches here? Last time, because I didn't study very thoroughly, I didn't think about this move until I was making the video. The correct move, according to AI, is to play the tiger's mouth from the outside. So it's not the wedge here, because the wedge is going to lead to some problems, which is when you wedge, black can have this variation where he can escape from the second line. So it's still playable for white, but black can reach a more or less equal position by escaping on the second line. So just don't play that. Actually, you can reach about 80% win rate, which is a very high win rate, just by playing the tiger's mouth. Now, there's no way for black to escape, because if you play here, then we can just enclose you like this, right? If you connect, I can just hane. It's the same thing. So there's absolutely no way for black to get out. If you extend, I can wedge. So black is also cut off. So that's the correct move for you to play. And at this point, this is a very difficult game for black, because black has to go back and painfully try to kill white. Another thing that I want to clarify is when I said at this position, when black connects and then white connects, well, what's really happening between these two groups, right? Like, why can't black struggle something? I guess I wasn't really clear about that, and I want to clarify this. If black plays here and stir up some chaos on the outside, let's say, for example, we play something, right? Either this direction or this direction, doesn't matter, we just need to answer. So something is going to happen on the outside. We're going to play with black for a while. But what happens when black loses this liberty is at some point down the line, not right now because we can take care of the outside first, but eventually, if black does not answer inside, white can connect over here, right? This will effectively become a seki inside. So actually, I think the correct move is for white to play here. This is more accurate because we want to go from the outside. Black extends, white connects, and this is a seki, right? So if white wants to, he can make a seki, and he doesn't have to die here. So if black plays here, white will block, black connects, white squeeze, black squeeze, white squeeze, black squeeze, and then we just kept playing, and then this becomes a seki, right, as I have shown you here. So the cost of black trying to play the hane here is that white is able to make a seki inside the corner. So that is quite costly if white actually revives. So black cannot just play the hane without any considerations. That's why white's outside is quite strong. Actually, when white cuts over here, there's no obvious way for black to not destroy or even just gain any sort of advantage on the outside, because white has a lot of stones. So that's a very important key technical point for you to understand, for you to be feeling very comfortable using this trick. But today our main topic is the second main variation, is for black to block from the outside. Against this move, white has two main variations, but I will only recommend the first one, that is the pull the stone here. The other main variations for white to make a dagger shape, and this becomes way too insane. Like, the reason it's insane is not because it's tricky. It's just very hard to understand, because eventually what AI is saying is that at some point, we're just gonna sacrifice the corner and we're gonna play a move on the outside, and then we'll call this a day. And then white's win rate is about 47%. I guess nobody likes this variation, and no one really understands the variation as long as you're not a professional. So definitely don't play this variation, because I don't understand it, right? I'm presenting this trick to you and I don't understand it. So I'm going to introduce you to what I understand, and what I think it's good is for you to pull the stone back at C18. Very clear move, right? So against this, black has two choices, obviously. One is to try to kill white. Let's look at the first one. So black is trying to kill white. White blocks here, and then black connects, and then white is effectively dead, but white can follow up by trying to kill black as well. So the following variation is simpler than you think, because black needs the hane here. So at this point, what white can do is to actually tanuki. It's a little bit hard to understand, but white can actually do that. So, well, what happens in the corner? Well, what happens in the corner is that if white ever wants to make a seki, white can just play here. In fact, I actually suggest you that you can directly play here, just to keep this in a seki mode. Why is this a seki? Well, if if black starts to fill in the liberty, we can play B19. When black hanes, we can squeeze over here, right? So if black connects, we will play here. If black squeeze here, we can hane on the first line and then connect back. So this is a seki inside. A little bit similar to the previous situation, right? So I think if you want to use this trick, it's very important for you to understand what's happening in the corner. You can tanuki here if you understand what you're doing. But if you don't understand, you can just follow up with a move, and then this becomes a seki in the corner, and this is a equal position. This is more or less an equal position for both sides, because white's shape is very, very strong, right? So yeah, and that would be, I'd be saying this is fairly comfortable for both sides. Black seems to be a little bit faster, but that's okay. White has very solid shape. So yeah, but if if white wants to be faster, right, we can just tanuki. The corner is not very important right now. If black goes ahead and try to kill white, it's not a big deal, because black eventually has to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then kill white. And then white still has all these moves on the outside, so this group is very strong, and then white gets the sente. I think for players in the intermediate level, I really recommend you to just to tanuki, because you know what's happening in here. So if you play one move, it becomes a seki. If you don't play, you die. But black has to go back and fill in. So I think the value of this is not as big as a move on the outside. So we can become speedy and then just start start approaching and start grabbing territory. And then the good part is if your opponent haven't studied this corner, he might spend quite a bit of time to figure out what is going on, right, inside the corner. So and it's actually worth reading it, because who knows, maybe white also has in some cases white can try for these extreme measures where he's gonna try to get a ko and then start trying to kill black. That's also a possibility, right? So but for simpler variation, if white plays here and gets b19, this becomes a seki. So you can also study a little bit this liberty fight. There's some other variations that will lead to all kinds of weird ko, but eventually ko means that it's a 50-50 thing, so it's not any better than seki or any worse than seki, in fact, depending on the ko threats you have. And then the corner is not, if you lose the corner, it's really not the end of the world, and you'll be able to gain compensations from elsewhere. So here, just go ahead and play somewhere else, totally fine. So that's the first variation I want to cover, is for black to just settle. And then if black tries that, that's pretty much forced variation. You have to go to the variation I just talked about and then call it a day, and then that's the end of the trick. Black answered everything perfectly. Well, what can we do, right? It's just an equal position. If black wants to get aggressive, he's saying, let me live first and then come back and kill you, white needs to block. This is the second main variation inside this variation. Now black has two choices. One is to retreat. This is a interesting variation. If black retreats, white's gonna do the same. And now we'll call this a day, because the reason this is the kind of the end of the variation is because now black is definitely in an inferior position. So why am I saying that? Because it seems like we have exactly the same shape, but white's got the vital 2-2 point. This means that white's already alive. This group is already alive. There's no way for black to kill it. On the contrary, there's one move to kill black, because we know when we peep here, black is dead. So black owns a move, basically, right? Like black needs to play another move to live himself, and then we can just start expanding. Black needs to make a 2-space extension, and then we fix the cutting point. Now we have a very strong outside. Later on, we can even pincer at m17 to keep attacking black. So this is a very favorable position, actually. This is like 90% win rate for white. And then black needs to understand to not save these guys first. Rather, he needs to play here. So this becomes really hard to understand, actually, for amateur level player, because you're leaving your group here kind of dead here. So at the point when black plays here, white needs to pay attention, because white cannot just go ahead and rush to kill black. The reason is that black has this invisible sente move, right? This cut is very serious, and if you fix, black's able to make a life and therefore wasting your first line move. So against this move, we can do a preparation move that gets rid of the cutting point I was talking about, therefore making the d14 move useless. So now black needs to go back and fix in some sort of form. And then this would be a favorable position for white, because these two groups pretty much cancel themselves out. They have the exact same shape and same points. And then white's group is slightly stronger than black, because black has fewer stones. And then it's white's sente. So black has one more stone, so that also cancels out because black plays first. So this becomes a slightly favorable position for white, because white has the initiative to expand himself on the bottom side. So this is also kind of your opponent falling into some sort of trap. Not as serious as the other possible traps we set up, but this is still a favorable position for white. Alright, so coming back, the other variation is more fierce. It's for black to squeeze here. Now this time black is not worrying about his own shape, rather he's trying to cut white off. Against this move, white needs to stay calm and not be intimidated by this cutting point. White just needs to pull the stone back. Now if black cuts, white is going to jump at g14. There's no easy way to capture white over here. So what black needs to do is extend in either direction. So regardless which direction he extends, the next move white's gonna jump over here. So at this point, this can go crazy. There's no way I can cover all the remaining variations after this. I'll just give you I guess the big idea, right? The big idea is that this group is totally fine. So is this group, right? Because if black plays here, we can connect. And there's no problem because white has an extra liberty here. So this group is gonna run for a while. This group is fine. This corner is alive. So there's a fight going on, but the most important thing is that black needs a move here, right? Whenever we play this move, right? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that, our outside is settled and everything, but whenever we get a play like this, black is not going to be alive, right? Black is essentially dead here. Actually, white does not even need to haunt it here, and black's already dead. So black needs to fix this very soon, right? He probably needs to just squeeze here. He can't do this right now, because if you do this right now, these two stones are pretty much like hurt to a very enormous magnitude. So black needs to fight against this group while keeping an eye on this killing move, right? This b14 just kills instantly, right? Black is dead after that. So black needs to go back and fix very, very soon. So black is missing a move here, and there's a fierce fight outside. So this is also slightly better for white, and especially if you're a fighter, it's a kind of good position for you because the outside is complete chaos, but your opponent is basically owing you something, right? So that should be a very nice position for white to be in as well. So I guess this pretty much sums up the main variation I want to talk about. So yeah, we cover the two main variations. One is for black to play the c18, the other is to block here. So we said how black can fall into a trap, and then and also we'll just briefly talk about how black can answer correctly for all the cases. So this sums up this video. The next video we'll talk about the second main variation. At this time, it is for black to play the kusumi here. Right, this makes this formation a lot more solid, puts a lot more pressure onto two white stones. But although this move is really strong, the traps that we can set up for him is a lot stronger. And that's really where the exciting stuff is coming about. It's really where you can knock out your coach for real, right? You can just make his win rate disappear if he doesn't answer the moves you're gonna play, right? So we're gonna cover those moves in great details in the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any further videos. And I will see you guys next time.